Bienvenidos a todos los que nos acompañan de nuestra comunidad hispanohablante. Si usted necesita traducción al español, le invitamos que nos acompañe, y un miembro de personal está disponible para traducir a través de línea telefónica. Para unirse a la traducción ahora mismo, por favor marque al número 1-669-900-6833 con el número de identificación 889-5905-1042 y use la clave 094-080. Toda esta información la puede encontrar en nuestra página de internet del Distrito Escolar, visitando www.ssfusd.org y busque bajo la sección de School Board Meetings. Muchas gracias.
So I would like to call for South San Francisco Unified School District Board of Trustee reconvene into open session. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Torres.
Here.
Trustee Anthony.
Here.
Trustee Lujan.
Present.
Trustee Richardson.
Present.
Vice President Murray.
Here.
President Shea.
Here. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Yes, Dana, please.
Sure. Thank you all for rising. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for leading it. Land acknowledgement statement.
We acknowledge that the South San Francisco Unified School District is located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We wish to pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community, and by affirming their sovereign rights as First Peoples.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Reporting out from closed session.
Thank you, President Shea. Reporting out from closed session regarding item number 1. There was a first by Trustee Murray, a second by Trustee Anthony, with a vote of 4-0 with 1 abstention to appoint Mr. Jason Hanan to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Student Services with a focus on talent management. Regarding item number 2, there is nothing to report out.
Thank you very much. Review of agenda. Any question from the board? No question. Wonderful. Great. PTA Council remarks.
Good evening, President Shea, trustees, Superintendent Moore, members of cabinet, members of the audience, both here and online. I would like to let you guys know that on Tuesday night, we held our council elections and officer installation at a potluck dinner, and we have a complete full board. Our new incoming president is Lauren Kitchen, who is here tonight, but wearing a different hat. I would also like at this time to reach out to and thank the Mary Musalam and Debbie Mert from Monteverde Elementary, who helped us out of a spot regarding the dinner. It was originally scheduled to be held at Martin, and due to a technical issue, could not be. And we very quickly got through with Lauren's help, got that set up. And we actually had a very good, successful evening with a good turnout of people there. I also wanted to let the board know that the first meeting in June will be my last meeting of presenting. I will not be able to be at the final meeting in June. So that meeting will be where I make my final presentation to you. That being said, I want to, at this point, reach out and give my congratulations and my thanks to both of our ASB presidents, student trustees, Tanya and Katrina. This year, you have done a fantastic job in making sure the points of your schools and the opinions of your schools and the representation has been there. I'm very, very proud of the fact that two of you did this. And I've got a long history with ASB presidents at El Camino, having been a president there. And I've known a couple of very strong South San Francisco High School ASB presidents. You two are the epitome of that. And I want to make sure you know that going out. That concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Staff Association representatives remarks, South San Francisco Federation of Adult Educators. She's not here. Okay, thank you. She's not here. And South San Francisco Classroom Teachers Association. Heather's not here. Okay, thank you. California School Employees Association, Chapter 197. Jolene is not here. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Personnel Commission.
Thank you, President Shea. The next Personnel Commission meeting will be next Monday, May 15th at 5 p.m. in the district boardroom.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Items from the board.
Through the chair. Thank you. Just really quickly, I wanted to announce that this afternoon I was informed that I was selected to serve on the Joint Advisory Committee of the Child Care Master Plan for the South San Francisco.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Appreciate that. Anything else? Okay,
The item for the board calendar, is that on, is that going to come up on the agenda?
If you have
Or
any
this
questions.
refers to the current board calendar, is that correct? And the next, and
Is
the
the board-
one on the agenda is the one that,
Would you like us to mention the dates that we discussed?
what?
The dates, is that what you're asking for?
No, I'm just wondering if we're items from the calendar, the board calendar, the new one. Is this referring to the present one or the next one?
Oh, that item is really if you have changes to propose for the board calendar, either the current, like upcoming meetings on the 26th or the meeting we have on June 3rd, or or in the future. So did you have changes to the board calendar?
Yes, I would like to request for the next year's board calendar to,
Oh,
take
that's
up
on-
the-
So that's in our consent agenda.
so
you
when
can
we get
pull-
to, that's what I
Yes,
was asking. Yeah,
yes,
thank
mhm.
you.
So you can pull from there, from our consent agenda. Thank you. Appreciate that. Superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, President Shea. So my first item is recognition for outgoing student trustee Torres. So it has just been a remarkable pleasure to work with student trustee Torres this year. While serving as a trustee, she's provided valuable insights, timely updates, and offered the student perspective on many important issues. Additionally, she's kept the board, the staff, and the community well informed on the various activities and events happening at South San Francisco High School, oftentimes through the lens of academics, social emotional health, athletic, and extracurricular activities. Tanya's passion for service and building awareness on campus and in the community has been inspiring to watch. The questions she asks, the things she observes, and the heart she has to ensure students are seen and heard and provided for has been a beautiful thing to see. Just like Madam President Aller, Madam President Torres, both, they presented their thoughts and ideas. Even if Madam President Torres disagreed, she did so in an honest, respectful, and professional way. And I want to commend both President Torres and President Aller for truly being a wonderful example and model for positive, productive, and strong leadership. At this time, I'd like to present President Tanya Torres with a certificate of appreciation for being the spring student trustee. And we want you to know that we wish you so much success in all of your future endeavors. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I have just a couple of other announcements in my superintendent's report. So our school district is recruiting for members to be on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. This committee serves as an oversight capacity on all bond-related projects and expenditures. Members will monitor all projects and expenditures approved by the voters, provide proper oversight and accountability to ensure the Measure T bond funds are used as they were intended for the purposes set forth on the ballot measure, and to report to the members of the community and the board on the progress of Measure T projects. If anyone is interested, please go onto our district website and select the bond measure icon to complete an application. The deadline is May 15th. We are looking for people who represent specific categories, which are the business community, a member in a senior citizens organization, a parent or guardian of a child enrolled in the district, an active member in a parent-teacher organization, an active member in a taxpayers organization, and any other individual. So we certainly invite you to apply and play an integral leadership role in this oversight committee. I also recently had the privilege of participating in the South City Senior Award Ceremony, where a number of students achieved distinction in the areas of academic, school, community service, athletics, and specialized fields in art, music, and drama. This also happened at El Camino High School, and I understand it was equally as wonderful as South San Francisco high schools. Many students received multiple honors, and some received financial support to continue their future endeavors. I want to congratulate both of our Madam Presidents and all the other students on your awards and/or scholarships. And truly, congratulations for being acknowledged for your gifts, your talents, and your brilliance as students in South San Francisco Unified. We are truly so incredibly proud of you. I also had the great privilege of taking my daughter and a friend to the El Camino High School dance showcase this past Saturday. I wanted to take an opportunity to acknowledge Ms. Feliciana Stevenson for her gifts and abilities in teaching, leading, and encouraging and empowering our students to own their dance skills among so many skills they're learning. I was also incredibly proud to see our very own Katrina Aller featured in the showcase, and I wanted to publicly congratulate you, Ms. Katrina, on your excellent performance. You are quite a remarkable dancer. I also took videos, so if you want videos of yourself, I'm happy to give that to you. And then today I was invited to attend the final meeting of our pre-adoption team, which is led by our TOSAs in partnership with Student Achievement Partners. And I just wanted to update the board and the community. They are in the process of completing a landscape analysis to learn more about the district and our readiness to adopt math curricula that is culturally responsive, sustaining, linguistically sustaining, and aligned to the math standards and shifts. This process will help us to learn where we have strengths and areas where we can improve, to be ready to adopt and implement high-quality instructional materials that meet the needs of our diverse learners. I wanted to acknowledge Mrs. Carrie Moliseri, Mrs. Satya Siegel, and Ms. Diana Yu for taking on a leadership role in ensuring a smooth and successful process. I also want to acknowledge and thank our elementary, middle, high school staff and community members who are part of a team, and they have had some wonderful contributions as well. And lastly, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce two of our upcoming principals. The board approved their appointment at the last meeting, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak before the board. This evening, I'd like to start with Mr. Richard Lee, who is our new principal at Los Cerritos Elementary School.
Thank you, Dr. Moore and trustees. It's truly exciting to be here. I have had a chance earlier this afternoon. I went and met a number of the faculty and some of the parents and a few of the students over at Los Cerritos, and it's just an incredible place. For myself, having grown up here in the Bay Area is something that is just really a gift to be able to continue to support children as they're growing and learning. And I am very excited about joining the team. I think in the year ahead, the things that you could expect from me are really making sure that everybody feels seen, that they feel heard, and that they're known. And that's the children and the adults in our community. And I'm very excited again. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And we also have Ms. Angelica Garduño Fletes, whom we know and love very well. She was the interim principal and now is our wonderful permanent principal at Spruce Elementary. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. I just want to say I am truly honored to continue the work that we have been doing. We're having really big things happen. For PTA, we actually just elected a full board for next school year, which is super exciting. That PTA meeting was conducted fully in Spanish as well. So we're really bringing the families in. And so I can't wait to report back for next year. And I myself, being bilingual and being able to talk directly with families has been such an honor, and to be able to bridge that. And I grew up in a small agricultural town. My parents are immigrants from Mexico. I am first generation here. So I'm very excited that I found South San Francisco in my trajectory somehow. I'm not from the Bay Area, but I'm happy that I'm here and will continue to serve. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And one last thing. So Trustee Torres, I want to say that somehow we got a picture of Trustee Torres with her spruce sweater and her college sweater side by side. I don't know if you made it or your dad made it, but it was so great. We did get to see it and we shared it around in the office. So we're really excited for you and happy that we were at once a spruce cougar. So congratulations and good luck to you. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Dr. Shea. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. This is wonderful. Student trustee reports, Tanya Torres, Spring Student Trustee and ASB President, South San Francisco.
Good evening, board, cabinet, and community. I am Tanya Torres, and I am proudly representing South San Francisco High School as ASB President and Spring Student Trustee. As we approach the very end of the year, I hope everyone had a meaningful time these past months and are doing very well. As for our ASB class, we are finalizing and holding the very last of our events. Our Spirit Week has taken place this week. It has been titled South City Kickoff, and Monday was Night In versus Night Out, in which students dressed up either in comfy clothes or fancy clothes. Most of our students came in PJs, and some did come in suits and dresses. In all, everyone looked fabulous. Tuesday was Soccer Mom and Barbecue Dads. Students really went out for this one, with athleisure being the main style that most people went for. Wednesday was Twin Day, and many of our students paired up with their friends and twinned. And today people came to school dressed as either a tacky tourist or in a preppy outfit. And tomorrow it will be class colors, in which freshmen wear purple, sophomores wear pink, juniors wear green, and seniors wear yellow. It's been a super successful Spirit Week, and I'm glad that students were able to participate. Our farewell rally will also be tomorrow, and we have so many fun things planned, including honoring our seniors, a teacher and a student dance, a performance from all folklorical class, and so much more. I congratulate our rally commission for working so hard this past year and for the completion of 4 very successful rallies, maintaining our South City rally tradition. We will also be showing our senior lip dub tomorrow during the rally. ASB senior Itzel Karate has created, directed, and is now editing the video in order to show it tomorrow during the rally. She has been working super hard, and I applaud her contributions to this project as well as to the ASB class these past 2 years. Our senior sunset will also be taking place next week, Wednesday, May 17th from 7 to 9 p.m. Thanks to the amazing donations from our PTSA, everything at Senior Sunset will be free, including admission, various games, as well as food and dessert trucks, which we have bought out in order to provide free food for our seniors. I can't wait for this event to happen and give the seniors the opportunity to have an amazing time. I also know that I did comment on the bathroom last time, but just one final update. We have informed our student body that our bathrooms have been opened, as well as the change of the locks on the gender neutral bathrooms via our Instagram. We have also publicized the availability of tokens in order to access menstrual products via the same Instagram post, as well as to put flyers of what teachers students can go to in order to access these tokens. Mr. Asber and I have been conversing weekly, and often we are talking about ways to make gender neutral spaces more available and hope to see more spaces in the coming year. We are proud to have been able to make progress towards this issue, as well as to see administration provide great support since my report on April 13th. So yeah, April 13th, I think, yeah. As for our spring sports, our softball team is closing out an amazing season. Our softball team held their senior night during their Monday game against Jefferson, in which South City won 17-1. We celebrated and congratulated seniors Ava, Mariah, Giselle, Ali, Guada, Shani, and Cal. They also took another win at Elko yesterday, beating the Colts 19-11. They play their final game tomorrow against Menlo Atherton. So good luck, Lady Warriors. Our baseball team also celebrated their senior night this week on May 9th. Congrats to seniors Kizna, Leo, JT, Jared, and Rico. They unfortunately lost against Westmore, but they did previously take a win against Lowell with a score of 8-6. And this is the Warriors' first win against them in 4 years. So our badminton team, sophomore Benson is a champion for boys single division, and junior John and sophomore Miguel earned champions for doubles and badminton. And the badminton coach hopes to continue practice over the summer to maintain form. As for track, 3 seniors are currently training for CCS semifinals that will take place this Saturday at Gilroy High School. Best of luck, Serene, Kaylin, and Anthony this weekend. As for other events around our school, our Ballet Folklorico Alma de Mexico held their spring concert this past week on May 7th and May 5th and May 7th. They featured around 300 performers from our community and did a fantastic job, as they always do. And our senior awards, as Dr. Moore mentioned, took place this past Tuesday. We were able to celebrate so many of our seniors for their achievements over the past 4 years. Shout out to our valedictorian Charity Fan and our salutatorian Darlene Harsana. As for ASB awards, our very own senior president, who is here in the crowd, Jasmine Lee, received the Lifetime Achievement Award after her 4 years being in ASB, and our executive vice president, Caitlin Leung, received the Outstanding Service Award in ASB. And yeah, so many other awards were given celebrating achievement in various departments, and I congratulate all of our amazing seniors. Go Warriors. I also want to recognize that May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. With that, I urge the board to continue to celebrate this community with this group within our community and dedicate more resources as well as courses for our high schools, especially like Asian American Studies, as many other districts in the Bay do offer. This concludes my report. It has been a true privilege to be able to serve on the board. It's been one of the most fulfilling parts of my time here at South City. There's still so much that needs to be done. So many communities that make up our community that need to be represented and need their voices to be amplified. This community is so special, but it can only remain that way as long as we serve it properly. We need to allocate resources where they are needed promptly. We need to serve groups, especially those not historically represented, like providing gender neutral changing spaces and bathrooms for our non-binary and transgender students, but not just at South City, but everywhere in our district. My school, as well as the various schools I've been able to connect with within this district during my time as a student and as a trustee, have had a profound impact on me and my ways of viewing the world. I love this community more than anything, and my one hope as my time here comes to an end is that student advocacy and campaigns are continued to be heard and prioritized in the years to come. Thank you for this opportunity, and may the South City community continue to bloom in color. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Katrina Oler, for student trustee and ASB president, El Camino High School.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and audience at home and audience present. My name is Katrina Aller, and I'm currently serving as the ASB president at El Camino High School and was the fall student trustee. Our students have successfully concluded AP testing lasting from May 1st to the 12th. We are so proud of our students for wanting to challenge themselves through taking these advanced courses and exams, especially as we approach finals week. I just wanted to say that all our students are brilliant regardless of the scores or grades they receive. Senior awards night occurred on Tuesday, May 9th in our little theater, where we celebrated all the accomplishments of our seniors during their past 4 years at El Camino. I'm so proud to announce that our class of 2023 valedictorian is Sean Saigako, who will be continuing his studies at the University of Pennsylvania, and our salutatorian is Nicholas Santos, who will be continuing his studies at UC Santa Barbara. Along with various department award winners, we also announced scholarship winners with the amount totaling up to more than $360,000. Thank you so much to all the sponsors who believe that all these students have the potential to go far in both life and their education. Also, thank you to Trustee Anthony and Mr. Irish for joining us on Tuesday to celebrate our seniors. Additionally, we are so proud of our Colt athletes and all the perseverance they displayed during the spring season. One of our students, Callista Lynch, was recognized as Athlete of the Week by the San Mateo Daily Journal. Callista was the standout of her final meet during the PAL Swimming Championships at Oceana. She won 3 individual titles, including a girls 200 individual medley, in which she broke her own meet record, one she initially set last season. Also, thank you to the South City baseball team for allowing our Colts to use their field to celebrate their senior night and final game against Hillsdale earlier today. We know that our players are devastated that they weren't able to enjoy their last moments together on their home field, but they are still very appreciative to share this last game together. Tomorrow, we'll also be hosting our final rally of the school year. We'll have various performances by cheer and advanced performing dance, along with spring sports recognition, fun rally games, and senior awards presented, such as our class valedictorian and salutatorian. Throughout this week leading up to the rally, we also had a spirit week for our students and staff to participate in. Monday was Back to the 2000s, Tuesday, Bikers versus Surfers, Wednesday, Dress as a Celebrity. Today was Dress to Impress, and tomorrow students will be wearing their rising class colors for Rally Day. Additionally, we're so excited to celebrate the class of 2023 at their graduation ceremony on Friday, May 26th at the Colt Field at 2 p.m. Prior to the graduation ceremony, grad practice will be held on the 24th and the 25th, as well as senior breakfast on the morning of the 25th. Our senior office and PTA will also be hosting Senior Sunset on Friday, May 19th, a time where our seniors can cherish their last moments together after their final exams and before graduation. Under the direction of Miss Feliciana Stevenson, our dance department had finished another successful dance show this past weekend. Thank you so much to everyone who attended, including Dr. Moore, the stage and tech crew, dance boosters, and parents for all their support throughout this dance show season. At the end of the last Saturday show, we said our last goodbyes to our senior dancers, along with announcing the 2023 Dancers of the Year, Rihanna Makatangay and myself. I would like to recognize Miss Stevenson for everything she has done for her students. I know I can speak on behalf of all the dancers in the program when I say that Miss Stevenson has made such an immense impact on all of our lives. She treats all her students like children of her own. Being in her class not only taught me how to love and take care of myself, but also enabled me to rediscover my passion for dance. Dance is more than a class at El Camino, it's a family. Because of the sense of community and purpose she has cultivated throughout the years, I want to continue dancing even after I graduate high school. I know that I will always have a home in her studio, and I'm so grateful to be called one of her dance children. Miss Stevenson is the embodiment of life, light and love, and shows everyone in our community why it's important to support the public education system and the performing arts. Before I conclude my report, I would like to thank Dr. Moore and the board for the amazing opportunity it has been to be able to represent my school and community at these meetings. Thank you for allowing my voice to be heard and to further amplify the voices in our community. I have been able to grow tremendously as a leader and learn so much about how to continue serving those around me. Thank you to my ASB advisor, Mr. Nichols, and to all the teachers I've had that had pushed me towards success. And lastly, a special shout out to my 7 ASB officers for being the reason why I show up every day and providing me with so much love and support throughout the school year. For the last time, if there are no questions or concerns, I would like to now introduce my successor, next year's ASB president and incoming student trustee, Jamie Wong. Thank you so much, and let's close this year off strong.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and welcome the new president. So we'll move on to our public comments. Public comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. So we have one public comment. Mr. Mike Harris.
Good evening, President Shea, I hope you enjoyed your trip to Switzerland. My father's family is from there, Sailorville, Switzerland, the Sailor Girls. I went to this school district from 59 to 64. I went to Parkway 1 year. I went to South City 1 year. I went to the duck farm for 3 years. I finished 35th in a class of 256. I would have done better. I would have done much better. I got straight C's in the most important class in high school. The most important class in 8th grade, I got straight C's. I would have finished up there with El Camino principal Mark Avalar, Coach Walt Harris, basketball star Brett McLaren, dead. All-around athlete Mike Cullen, dead. All-around athlete Ron Reinig, dead. We lost 2 in Vietnam. I knew both of them. I used to walk home with Richard Carlson. John Bianchi, dead in Vietnam, very early on. What I learned most from the most important class in high school was shot putting. I use that today. I tossed logs up the back slope all afternoon. I am a Camel Harris crime victim. I've had 5 surgeries. This is tough, difficult, dangerous work. Wazzy Chodbury has stonewalled me for 4 months now on this back ravine behind my house. The slanted tree fell on your property. I cut it in the winter with a chainsaw over my head, one-handed on a muddy, slippery slope. Joe Biden provided the authorization to do this when he declared San Mateo County an emergency county. The crew was out there this morning. They did a not very good job, and I followed up with my new string trimmer. I had to use a reciprocating saw. When I get a chance, I'll go out there with a chainsaw again over my head, one-handed on a slope. I have to get somebody there with me. I can't use it alone. I would appreciate it if the board would deal with this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's move on to item F, information only presentation, administration, South San Francisco Education Foundation. A representative from the SSF Education Foundation, a newly established nonprofit organization, will review their mission, vision, values, approach, and path forward to help district students receive the education and resources to reach their highest potential.
Hi, everyone. Is this at the right level for me? Okay. Hi, all. My name is Barbie Levesser, and I'm the current president of the South San Francisco Education Foundation. I have a kindergartner and a second grader at Monteverde and several years experience leading community-based nonprofits, but I'm the least interesting thing about this organization. I'm here to talk to you today about the movement toward improving public schools, which started long before me and which will hopefully continue long after me. First, a little bit about the foundation. The South San Francisco Education Foundation is an independent organization. So although our mission is tied to the school district and we work very closely with the district office and site leaders, we are a separate organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, which charitable folks will recognize as meaning tax exempt, but it also means accountability. The IRS has gone over our bylaws, financials, mission, and core activities. That's all in the public record. And they can audit us at any time to ensure we're working toward our mission in the way we said we would. We're an incorporated public charity, not a private foundation, which means this org is not mine. It's ours. It belongs to the community. I have no rights to it. The board of directors will change and evolve over time to ensure the organization stays as close to the issues as possible. I wish I could say, look at this great idea I came up with to start a foundation for the district, but even that isn't mine. The idea has been in the community for decades. I'm just the midwife. If you look around the Bay, there are tons of established organizations similar to this one. The Pacifica Education Foundation supports music programs and art. The San Bruno Education Foundation runs after-school enrichment. The Burlingame Education Foundation decreases class sizes. Palo Alto Partners in Education supports STEAM initiatives. Across the freeway from that in East Palo Alto, the Ravenswood Education Foundation is working to increase teacher salaries. The Oakland Public Education Foundation, or a Public Education Fund, focuses on equity, much like our organization. It's time for SSFUSD to benefit from an organization like this too. Returning to the movement, I'm going to put you on the spot, a little bit of a pop quiz for our trustees. What, in your opinion, what are the ideals of public education? Like, why was it created? And what is it supposed to provide? I'm gonna call out because Dr. Shea and Trustee Murray have heard me do this one before. Why don't you start while others have a chance to think?
Provide equitable education for our kids.
Provide equitable education for our kids. I love it. Any add-ons to that or from any of the other trustees?
I would say meeting the needs of all of our kids, not just some of them, and providing them or what public education provides them with the requisites or the requisite things they need for functioning in a democratic society.
I mean, we're going to see a really great presentation here in a minute about the portrait of a graduate. And that covers a lot of what I would say, which is that we want to grow amazing citizens and people who are engaged, knowledgeable about their world around them, and active in changing it for the better.
Definitely.
Definitely agree with what everyone said. I know that the history, if we go back to the foundation of American education, the goals are far from what I hope for education now. And I'm glad that we have evolved. I believe that education should serve all students well, so that way they can achieve anything that they hope for, well beyond the K-12 system. Whatever they dream, they can go do, and they have the confidence and the wherewithal to go do that.
Anyone else want to add?
Just briefly, I would say the free, appropriate public education is the norm, and we take for granted. But our advanced society is as a result of this idea and ideal to advance society. So that's my interpretation of what.
Thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts and for being good sports about being put on the spot. So let's see how the foundations, how we operate ties into those ideals. The foundation's mission is to support and enhance public education in the South San Francisco Unified School District. The vision is to build a future where all students receive the education and resources they need to achieve their highest potential. We want students to reach their highest potential to participate in society, in democracy. We want all students to have opportunity. We want all students to have choice, liberty. These aren't just organizational ideals, these are American ideals. And what's exciting about doing this in South San Francisco is that the programs and initiatives already happening here show that these aren't just ideals on paper. The community here takes them seriously and is willing to invest in making them a reality. Fleshing this out a little more, here are our organizational values. We believe in putting students first. We invest in initiatives that advance students' engagement, well-being, love for learning, and long-term success. As reflected in our vision, one of our core values is equity. There are structural inequities in our public education system, and I know I won't offend you all by saying this because many of your names are on the resolution denouncing racism the school board passed in 2020, which acknowledged these institutional barriers. We center equity in all of our work too. Another one of our values is community, which I'll talk about more with our next slide. And our final value is integrity. We believe in the need for trust and transparency and adhere to the highest degree of ethical standards in all of our work. There we go. Okay. Diving into the value of community. This is the bedrock of our approach. Our goal is to provide inclusive, accessible opportunities for students, families, educators, and the greater local community to get involved. We are continuously learning and growing. Speaking to the broader community, if you run another organization, a business, an ASB, and see opportunities for collaboration, we would love to get to know you. If you're a student or parent thinking, this lady doesn't understand the real issues, we need you. Fill out our input form in whatever language you're most comfortable with. We'll get it translated. Email us, DM us, invite us to come hear feedback from your club or your community group. Sign up to be part of our school advocate network to elevate your school community's needs. Come advise on our finance committee or our governance committee to ensure our processes are ironclad, or on our community engagement committee to make sure we're reaching the people we need to reach. Our organization belongs to the community. This organization belongs to you. So what's our path forward? Again, our bedrock is community outreach and engagement. Over the last year, we have been focused on learning from the community. We've spoken to every principal about their unique school community. We've surveyed and listened to educators, and we've spoken to various student, family, and community groups. If it wasn't apparent from what I said on the last slide, we are now building local community leadership. It's time for this organization to become bigger than its founders. We have also soft launched our process of gathering resources, which involves both fundraising from the community and from grants, and building partnerships. Because in some cases, what a good idea needs is not only funding, but people. For example, the San Francisco Education Fund has an impressive impact, not so much through the amount of money they raise, but through the robust network of partnerships they form to run volunteer-based tutoring programs. We are working with community, district, and schools to understand what is needed, what the roadblocks are, and how we can overcome them. The final step in our process is implementation. In collaboration with SSFUSD, we will grant funds and allocate resources toward the ideals we talked about, that every student has opportunity, choice, belongingness. Every student has the opportunity to be engaged in learning, to love learning, to be well. That every student is set up for long-term success. If this movement resonates with you, here's how you can get involved. You can join our email list. You can share your thoughts via our bilingual web form. You can visit our website to learn more about how to get involved on a deeper level. And you can donate to invest in the vision for a public education that lives up to our ideals. Specifically for the school board, let's stay in collaboration. Keep us in mind when a project that fits our values comes up, and let us know how we might be able to contribute, be it topping up funding, cultivating partnerships, or educating the community. We're here to stay. Thank you so much for your time, and I will leave this slide up in case people want to scan or take photos while I take any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Barbie. Excellent work. And thank you for your love for the district and organize this foundation. It's not an easy task. And then you just run with it and then get it done. So really appreciate your work and with your team's effort. So I'm going to open to question from the Board of Trustees. Comments. Let's do from left to right. Sorry about that. I got complaint last time. So the student trustee, you good? Me, go ahead.
Go ahead, you first. Go ahead.
Richardson. Mina, go ahead.
I think it's a wonderful thing you're doing. And I've heard your delivery, not the foundation's delivery at other parent groups, specifically in Spanish for those parents. And that was quite, I would say, very opening for that community who traditionally they feel left out. And I was very surprised and happy to see this. They're opening their arms way wide for our community that's largely silent because they are systematically left out. So thank you for that. And I hope that success for your foundation.
Thank you. To give credit where credit's due, Lauren Kitchen, one of my other board members, is the one who does our Spanish presentations, as well as Juanita Flores. And yo aprendo un poco. I'm working on it.
Thank you, Barbie, for the lovely presentation. Thank you for the work. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Christy. I know, Kayla, and all the other parents you've recruited. I remember this idea being talked about a couple of years ago, and the idea has grown by leaps and bounds. And I'm just grateful that you and the team are driven by and inspired to do this work. And I do want to encourage everyone to donate. The Ed Foundation makes it very easy. You click the link and you're done in under 2 minutes. So thank you.
Thank you.
I too want to thank you. I've heard this idea for years and years. I've been in the district for a zillion years, and since the very beginning, I've heard the idea, and nobody's actually taken it and taken off with it. And so I so appreciate you and everybody else who's helping you. And I do think collaboration and partnerships are so important, and families. And working with the district, Dr. Moore. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
I think you guys were the first meeting I had after I became a trustee. So thank you for that. I'm really excited about what you're doing. A friend of mine is the head of the San Carlos Education Foundation, and it's the opportunities they afford their kids is amazing. And I'm really glad that we're going to have the opportunity to do that here too. So keep it up. And it's true, it is really easy to donate. And do you guys still have the matching program? Have you fulfilled the match?
We haven't yet. So
Not
we
yet.
still have the
So
matching.
when you donate, it gets doubled. So, even $5, it's 10, 20.
Thank you so much. No further comments, questions? Wonderful. Thank you for your great presentation. Appreciate that. The next presentation is our South San Francisco Unified School District portrait of a graduate. Superintendent Dr. Moore will review an update of the year-long visioning effort, SSFUSD portrait of a graduate, which describes the knowledge, skills, and mindsets district graduates will need to thrive in the future. Dr. Moore.
Thank you so much, President Shea. So good evening, trustees, wonderful cabinet members, and community. Thank you for affording me the opportunity this evening to provide a very brief update regarding the portrait of a graduate, which is also on our agenda to be approved this evening. It has been a tremendous journey for our community to develop this portrait of a graduate. We intentionally and strategically planned out the ways in which we wanted to engage our community to elevate the voices who have historically been unrepresented, to create a culture in this process so that our community could feel seen and heard, and to have a strong sense of belonging throughout. And we worked hard to create multiple opportunities and ways in which we wanted our community to engage. This slide truly just represents the extensive outreach we did to boost participation in this process. I'm not going to read you all the data here, but I do want to say in total, we had over 3,700 South San Francisco community members that responded to our initial survey. You can see the breakdown before you. We also ended up having over 400 people that came and shared their individual or small group perspectives in person or via Zoom with us about what they thought our aspirations for students should be throughout this process. Once we had a draft graduate profile, we were pleased to have over 1,100 community members share their feedback. We gave the draft. We then said, community, did we get it right? Or are there still opportunities for us to continue to grow and refine? And our feedback was pretty phenomenal. We had a working group that came together and they were instrumental in this process to really help us see, did we actually take the feedback of the community and embed it into our plan? So during this process, as I've shared, our vision has always been to engage in thoughtful ways, in strategic ways, so that we could truly ensure an equitable and inclusive process. So I want to share just a little bit about what we did. We started with engaging a family fellow, so in partnership with the Bay Ed Fund, reached out specifically to our Spanish-speaking community and offered leadership opportunities about the district, about how to navigate schools, but also we had a session where we could come in and very personally just talk to them. What is working for you? What isn't? What are your aspirations for your students? We also created surveys, handouts. All of our documents were in English and Spanish. We provided our draft graduate profile also in English and Spanish. We offered in-person and virtual opportunities to our community, also with translation support. And we asked people, what will work for you? What are barriers that will prevent your attendance? And we sought to remove those barriers so that everyone who wanted to participate and engage, we created the space to be able to do that. One of our most exciting opportunities was that of our community conversations with some of you who came and attended. We had over 200 people that attended and shared their direct perspectives with us. At the end of a lot of our sessions, we asked, in this process, did you feel heard and did you feel seen? And we collected that data, and there was an overwhelming positive sense from our community that I feel like my voice is important. I feel like people are hearing what I have to say, and I see that it's reflected in the portrait of a graduate. We're really excited about that. That was one of our main goals. We began this effort knowing that we wanted and needed our community to play a really vital and critical role in this process. Therefore, we established criteria to design a diverse visioning and working group, and they truly played a critical role in the process. We had more than 75 people who volunteered to participate on our visioning working group. We chose 21 who reflected the diversity of our community. Our visioning working group's charge was to develop a draft portrait of a graduate and a refreshed mission statement based on community input, external research, and of course, their own lived experiences. And many of our families grew up here and experienced school here. So we got to hear firsthand experiences, how they experienced it and their students. Above, you can see the wonderful group who made up this working group. And she will probably be unhappy that I'm calling her out. But one of our working group members is here, Miss Rebecca Carrillo. You see her in the top left corner. Thank you for being in the back, Miss Rebecca. She was a wonderful contributor to this, and we truly wouldn't have been able to get this far without the working group who came back and really studied the community's feedback and would tell us this, we don't have it right. That's not what we're seeing in trends in the data. So tonight, I bring before you the recommendation from the committee and from cabinet, because it came to us before it came before the board. We are asking for consideration for you to approve and adopt this as our aspirational aims for our students. As you can see, after a lot of consideration, examination, and thoughtfulness, we offer this profile whereby we aspire all of our students to learn constantly as their life and the world changes through intellectual curiosity, academic excellence, and creativity and resourcefulness. We aspire for every student to thrive as a person demonstrating self-awareness, wellness, and real-world readiness. We seek for our students to be able to navigate their future purposefully whether that is through a career and or college, and to be conversant with their technology skills as well as their financial literacy skills. And lastly, we aspire for every student to impact their community for the better by collaborating and engaging in empathic, communicative, and respectful ways, and to be of service to and remain engaged in the community. So looking ahead, we are planning to develop a multi-year strategic plan with very targeted strategic priorities to ensure that all of our students can embody the portrait of a graduate profile. We will begin some planning work this summer, but the bulk of the work will occur in the fall through December 2023. With that, that concludes my presentation. I would like to open it up and entertain any questions, comments, or feedback from the board before we transition to the action item. I'm going to go back on the slide of the portrait because this is really what we're asking for your feedback on. So I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Shea.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Moore. Any comments, questions? I'm going to start from the left. Student trustee.
Yeah, I think it's great that like the community was really involved in this process. I think that's like the most vital thing. I do hope that like, especially like, you know, it can only improve, that as it does, like more members of our community that usually aren't able to go to these events. Cause like, I mean, in the picture, like I see a lot of faces that I know, like there's a parent that I know she's at every event. So I think parents that usually aren't kind of providing, you know, not necessarily incentives, but, you know, ways for them to go, whether that's, you know, later times, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, I think one of the things that will be really beneficial for us as we're on our second cohort of our family fellows. Our family fellows are parents in the community. Initially, it was primarily those parents, Spanish speaking, typically who attend Martin, Spruce, Parkway, and so forth. And they then went out and recruited for the second cohort, which we're about to finalize in the next week. So the idea is that we continue to engage in those ways, and they're the ones who recruited to the community conversations, and they were facilitating a lot of our meetings. So it wasn't us taking on the facilitation. So to your point, the idea is we leverage our partnership and relationship with our families to be able to help get more people so that they know they have a seat at the table. Thank you for that.
Very good. Thank you. Mina.
Thank you. Dr. Moore, it was you that started this whole effort, and you're the one that's carrying all of us, actually. I was part of this, and I was attending your Zoom meetings and every opportunity you offered us with the surveys, and you just kept bringing it on, but you had a group to work with, and without that group, it really couldn't have been as successful as we all know what's in this portrait of graduate. Because some of us, we were talking in the cabinet. I mean, all our educators, I've never seen engaged in this process. But I appreciate you and your effort of just casting the net and then bringing them in. And they came. So thank you so much.
Thank you
This is
very much.
exciting, actually.
Thank you.
Dana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's really exciting. I want to thank you and staff for your work to engage community in the different ways that you did. And I want to thank the community for their engagement and just the creativity in all the different ways you engaged in outreach, whether it was an online survey. My husband, I had the benefit of overhearing him do the phone survey. He's not one who usually likes to do school things, but he participated in the phone survey. And then just Zoom meetings, in-person meetings, focus groups, like just different ways to elevate voices. So thank you for that. I know there's always room for growth, but when we look at how many people participate, it gives me a lot of confidence, and just the overall portrait of a graduate is really exciting.
Thank you.
Great. Pat, please.
Ditto. I think that the outreach was amazing. I mean, there's nothing more than I can say, that it was just, I've not seen anything like this since I've been on the board. And that was since 2016. I mean, this type of outreach and the parents, and I've heard people in the community talking about it. Hey, did you do the survey, the phone survey? And I'm like, oh, So thank you very much. Thank you and your staff.
Thank you. You know, it really was a community effort as we had principals assisting, board members assisting, handing out flyers with QR codes. And one of the things, and I haven't shared this, and I'd like to with the board, is that we have codified all of that. So we looked at which strategies worked really well, which ones didn't, so that we can develop our own kind of South City way. This is how we engage our community. And so we can replicate some of the strategies that we're high leveraging. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. Amanda, please.
Yeah, so I remember attending one of the community conversations and being like, how much am I supposed to say here? Because I'm a board member. But I remember at that time, it was detailed and now it's much more detailed. And I just commend you for getting all that feedback in here. I know it was probably really hard, but at the same time, I think that this draft is better. It really does encompass what we want to see. And, you know, I think the biggest takeaway I have is I remember not only when I was running, but just what you hear in the media about schools and, well, you know, kids these days, right? I mean, it's all nonsense, but having this as our North Star makes it a lot easier to make decisions and to understand why those decisions are being made. And I'm excited about that.
Thank you. Me as well.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Dr. Moore. Echo my board members. The result coming out from this comprehensive approach really give us, as Amanda mentioned earlier, a clear direction that this is the right place and the right direction to move forward. So I super appreciate your leadership and then community engagement and everyone involved in this process. So back to this chart, I do have a couple thoughts. When I was in the event on one of the picture there, and I remember hearing from students say the connection that is so important to our students, how they connect with our adults. So maybe it's somewhere here, the connection I feel like it's important to mention, and then the kindness and compassion. So those two I also hear from the forum. Those three words, maybe it's somewhere here, but slightly different. So I just want to give you that feedback.
No, I appreciate the feedback. So because it's up for approval, what I'm going to do first is just ask, is that the consensus of the board? Do you want to look for opportunities to add in compassion, kindness, and somewhere connect the connection? And we have heard a lot about that from our students in the student advisory group and students with whom we speak. There is a strong sense of, well, I know which teachers really care about me, or the custodian or the administrative assistant. And so I do think that that's an important aspect that may not be called out as prevalently here. And then, of course, just with some of the circumstances that we've experienced this year, we want to be kind and compassionate to each other. And so is that the consensus of the board? Should we look for an opportunity to embed that?
I have a wondering, sorry, I went to a school where every question was answered with a question. So my wondering would be the compassion and the kindness. Like, yes, we do want our students to be compassionate and kindness, but my wondering is the desire, what you heard, more about what students hope from our staff? And so in there, is it like a companion document, like for staff to unpack, here's our North Star, this is the pathway there? That's my wondering. So I'm just trying to make sense of the feedback that you heard.
Did you hear it from students from students to students, from students to staff, or all of the above? Do you recall?
I think it's all of the above.
Yeah, I think we were in
Mm-hmm.
in one of the sessions, I think the Zoom session, and
then the face-to-face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right, in
And
South-
I know
South
connection was like huge, and really everywhere we go, anyone we talk to, things that I've gone to, where I've heard speakers talk about, what led them in this direction. Connection is always the reason. They felt connected to a teacher, the teacher, or to whomever, and that helped to catapult them into what they they were doing. So I think connection is really important. Just on a personal note, compassion and kindness, I think is always important, but I want our students to feel connected.
Yes, that's critical. So I've heard from two trustees. Or three trustees, actually. We have two others, if you'd like to share your feedback on compassion, kindness, and connections. Because then we can wordsmith it a little bit.
Mina.
I think all that was written in all the goals and the mission of the portrait of the graduate, eventually you acquire compassion and kindness. I mean, sort of their byproducts. And we don't have to admit that we need to write it in. We just hope that it is a byproduct of the whole portrait of the graduate. That's my stake on.
Thank you, Trustee Richardson. Under impact, it does say demonstrate empathy is a connector potentially to compassion. So I'm not hearing a strong advocacy for compassion and kindness from the trustees.
I probably wouldn't put it in the text. I think I agree with Trustee Richardson that it's an expectation, and I think it underlies what we do. I like Dana's suggestion about having it possibly be a companion guide about like, how do we model this? But I think connection is really important to put in here.
Okay, so I have heard three people show support for connection, and then Trustee Torres, since this is a portrait of a graduate for students, if you want to weigh in, please.
I mean, I do think the connection part for sure. Like, I've talked about my own experience and like kind of like the path that I want to take, maybe teaching in the future. And to me, like a lot of that is because of the teachers that I've had that I've been able to connect with, one of them being here. But I think, without a doubt, like teachers have obviously that connection is so important. I do definitely think including it here kind of as like an expectation of like, connecting with the students, it has an impact that often we don't realize. But I think for the compassion part, I do think it's kind of like an expectation, but at the same time, like, even if like there are so many things at our schools that are and expectations that aren't met. Like, for example, honestly, like saying the N-word should be, or not saying the N-word should be an expectation, yet it's something that we hear every day at our schools. So I feel like just because something should be an expectation doesn't mean that it actually is carried out. And I know that it's hard to kind of have this extensive like list of things, but I feel like the more we add, it's like we can return to these issues or to this, like this is in writing. Like we've talked that this is an expectation and this is necessary for our teachers, for our staff, for our students to kind of uphold. So I think I would show support for adding it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you. After Trustee Torres's feedback, the trustees open to shifting and adding in kindness and/or. So if we do that, I think it makes sense since under the impact collaboration. So maybe it's demonstrate empathy, compassion, kindness, and with the other words. Okay, that's an easier one. And then it seems like there is support for connection. So I think the one that seems to be an easier fit looks like under community service and engagement potentially, finds opportunities to support others and be involved in their communities. We can also consider adding and seeks to create opportunities to develop deeper connections with one another or something, some iteration of that.
I like that. I'm also just wondering if we could make it shorter,
Sure.
like saying like, as an educational community united in our commitment to equity, we work together and build relationships to ensure that every graduate, because I think, we can use the word connection, but like building relationships is what connection is, right? So maybe.
So you want to add it to the header, not
Maybe.
to a description.
I think it's part of how you get there. If we're working together and maybe building connection, connection or connections, I don't know.
Are we in support of Trustee Anthony's suggestion? Or do we want to call it out in another place? You just tell me what you want to do and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I support that.
So trustee Anthony, please reiterate that.
So in the header, as an educational community united in our commitment to equity, we work together and build relationships or build connections to ensure that every graduate has the essential academic and social emotional skills, knowledge, and habits too.
Thank you very much. And so with that, this is going to be, thank you for your engagement and your feedback. This is going to be a presentation for action as your next action item. And so just considering the changes that you just made. Thank you. Thank you, community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Moore. Thank you. Thank you all. Let's go to the action item, approval of the South San Francisco Unified School District Portrait of a Graduate. Staff recommend the approval of the proposed South San Francisco Unified School District Portrait of a Graduate that reflects the hope and dreams of the SSFUSD community as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved with the proposed changes.
Wonderful.
Second.
Second by Pat. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Great. So motion carries. Excellent. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So let's move on to our consent agenda. So we will pull the item 2A agreement. No, I'm sorry. 1B. Proposed Board of Trustees meeting calendar for the 23-24 school year. Mina, you want to pull that one, right?
Well, I would like to possibly, and we could
Can we
agree
discuss?
to that one, but with a slight changes or some way of handling as it is in this year's calendar, that the middle college graduation falls on the board meeting night. And if we could, in some way,
Okay.
for next year, we can plan to it.
So Mina, can we pull this item? I would like to pass this as consent agenda and then we will discuss that item.
Oh, okay, fine.
But yeah, we wouldn't do that. We don't,
So that's,
it's not on our calendar. The graduations are set by the principals, right?
okay, that's okay. We still pull it. We
Would
will
you
discuss.
like a motion for all
Yes.
items except, so I move the consent agenda less item 1B.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry. I need to, I was waiting for a pause. I need to add some information to Educational Services 2B. So I need a quick announcement, if I may, Dr. Shea.
Okay, so can we have motion and then,
Well, I'll
Or
have
you
to
want to
amend it
pull?
after his additional information. So
okay,
I'll
so,
hold my motion.
okay. So can we pull 1B and 2B? And then may I have a motion and a second?
I'll
So
move the
moved.
consent agenda, less items 1B and 2B.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Wonderful. Okay, so let's go to 1B. Nina.
Currently, the calendar coincides with a meeting night and is the middle college graduation night. And I would like to know, plan for next year, if we can allow flexibility, if you will, to be able to attend, some of us who would like to attend the middle college. Is that possible? Can we consider that before we, how do we make that particular night a little bit much more free so that we can, so some of us can, because actually I've had that earlier about parents have said that some of our meetings are too close together and
Okay,
things
so
like that.
Anani?
I was just going to comment, since I'm the one who created this. We find out very late in the year when they're going to have their graduation. So if that's what the board wanted to do, we would need to, at that point in time, like late April or such, move one of the the May meetings, if that was what you wanted to do, but it's nothing that I can get at this point to consider for the calendar.
Should we handle that? So we
So
just
May-
plan ahead and can we say we can flex it,
Go ahead.
be flexible about it? How do we create that
So
availability so that parents can attend the middle college?
that's a
Dana.
And a
great,
board meeting if they had to.
great question, Mina. So I think what Neilani was suggesting is that we approve the board calendar as presented, and all schools have access to the board calendar. In April, Neilani starts getting the dates of all the graduations. So we can, at a meeting, maybe add the item of when the proposed graduations are, and then compare it to our board calendar. If, as a board, we agree, we see conflicts, we can agree to move the board meeting. But we can't do that now. We don't have the graduation dates.
It's really only for middle college.
Yeah.
Of course, for the promotions and graduations, we get that information early on.
Right.
But they each year are very late in letting me know that.
And if I can, this year is an exception for Skyline. They had some construction. So normally they do it on a Wednesday. So it was a change last minute due to some construction at Skyline. So that was the reason for the change to a Thursday this year. That's what I was told by the director.
Well, maybe it'll go back to Wednesday then.
Supposedly, it's supposed to go back to
Problem solved.
Wednesday. Yeah, it's supposed to go back to Wednesday. This was a one-time last
And maybe
minute.
we
Yeah.
just, I'm happy to have this conversation because I was thinking, I never heard of it being on a
Yeah,
Thursday.
it normally is
No?
not since,
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful.
So-
Thank
I'm
you.
fine with that.
Appreciate that.
We can,
So-
Thank you.
So we will move
Thanks
this.
for that
May I have a
perspective.
motion and a second to move this calendar?
Second.
Who is first? Oh, Anthony, thank you. And then Dana. Wonderful. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And then 2B,
Good evening, Dr. Shea, members of the board. If you'll notice in the board memo, there's an asterisk next to adult education. At that time, we had not solidified the date and time, so I do have that now. So I want to remind the board and the public of this and then ask for approval. So the date of the adult school graduation is May 17th at 6 PM right here in the Baden Gym. We didn't have that solidified at that time. So we apologize for that. So thank you.
no problem. Excellent. So, may I have a motion and second?
So move, do you want to go for it?
Second.
Question, Mina?
No.
Oh, okay, great. So may I have all in favor, say aye?
Aye.
Wonderful. Motion carries. Yeah. And then Pat second. Mhm. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our information discussion, page 6, business services. A, district measure T bond costs of issuance. Staff will present information on the estimated and actual measure T bond costs of issuance following the completed financing on April 26, 2023.
Hey, thank you, President Shade. Yeah, I don't have a presentation for this item. It's more of a, just informational items for the board. Yeah, all the information is presented there on the cost breakdown, so you can see what is the cost of the issuance of the bond. And so, and this is per the California Education Code 15146. We're required to present this information to the board after the financing is completed for the bond. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Any question or comments from the board?
Briefly, Mr. O, has this been already paid to these people, the underwriters?
Yeah, the bank that handles the transaction will take that out and transfer it to these organizations before they send the funds over to us.
Oh, so you haven't received it from the county?
I haven't checked to see if we received because we're supposed to get the first series of bond is 150 million. So we're supposed to be getting that. I'm not sure we received it yet, but I need to check, double check.
But the county has it.
It will go to the county office, to the county treasurer. That's where the money sits.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? Excellent. Thank you, Mr. O. So let's move on to number 2, educational services. A, approval of IXL learning contract for the 2023-26 school years. Staff recommends the approval of the IXL web-based assessment program contract for grades K through 12 in mathematics and ELA for the 2023-26 school years as presented to the board. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
So Dana and then Pat. Any comments, questions? No. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Motion carries. Item B, approval of SSFUSD additional diploma option and requirements. Staff recommends the approval of a new pathway to a high school diploma for students with disabilities who meet eligibility requirements in AB 181 for the 2022-23 school year as presented to the board. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Pat and Dana. Any question, comments? No? Okay, may I have all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye. Sorry.
Great, thank you. Motion carries. So item C, approval of agreement with the physical education instruction for the 2023-24 school year. Staff recommends the approval of the agreement between South San Francisco Unified School District and
La Garza.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sports to provide standards aligned physical education instruction for students in K-5 at all 9 elementary schools for the 23-24 school year as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Pat and Dana. Any comments? I do have
If I
one.
can, I just want to say thank
Yes.
you to the Board of Trustees. I want to thank the Educational Services team for looking for alternatives and ways, creative ways, innovative ways to help our elementary staff obtain more collaboration time. And of course, our elementary teachers often have to prep for 6 or 7 different subject areas. So we're going to try this out for 1 year, see how this goes, and I'll bring it back to the board to see if this, so I want to thank CTA too, because we've had conversations to try this. So thank you, CTA, the community and Ed Services for this, and of course, the board for your trust in us. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you too. This is very exciting. I'm so excited about this. For years, people have said, that they wanted like a PE program across the schools. And so I'm very excited. And La Garza is good.
Our teachers are amazing. It's not that our teachers
Oh,
aren't teaching the PE standards. The premise here is to try to obtain more common collaboration time. And now teachers in grades 1 through 5 twice a week will have 50 additional minutes in their schedule. So Ed Services can push in, but more importantly, teachers will have time to plan during the day. So this is a creative way to kind of embed the planning time.
Absolutely. I didn't mean to say that, but yeah, this is amazing. I love it.
I just wanted to mention that math is one of those building blocks that you need to have. It's a basic ABC thing. And I'm so happy that you're moving in that direction. That's the essence of equity. Give them something when they need it, and they need it, math.
Thank you. Okay, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. D, page 7, D, approval to continue non-public agenda agencies NPA contracts for the 2023-24 school year. Staff recommends the approval to allow the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services to sign all professional service agreements and the Director of Special Education to sign off on all independent service agreements in order to fulfill individualized education plan service agreements for the 2023-24 school year as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
So Pat, and then let's give to Mina. Mina second. Any comments or discussion? No, wonderful. All in favor, say aye.
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 Wonderful. Motion carries. So let's move on to number 3, business services. A, resolution number 23-39 for Fund 11 and Fund 14. Staff recommends the adoption of resolution number 23-39, authorizing the establishment of fund balances for Fund 11, adult education, and Fund 14, deferred maintenance. So may I have a motion and a second?
So move with the waiving of the reading.
Second.
Wonderful. So Dana and Amanda,
Yeah.
thank you. Any comments? Okay, so roll call, please. Thank you.
Student trustee Torres,
Aye.
trustee Anthony,
Aye.
trustee Lujan,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
Vice President Murray. Aye. President Shay.
Yes, thank you. So item B, resolution number 23-40 for bank clearing accounts. Staff recommends the adoption of resolution number 23-40 to establish clearing accounts for cash receipt transactions between the district and the county treasury as required by the San Mateo County Office of Education. So may I have a motion and second?
So move with the waiving of the reading.
Thank you.
And I
Dana.
have a question.
Okay, and who's second?
I'll-
Pat?
I'll second the
Second.
motion and then we can have the question.
Question, yeah. So Amanda, second. Any comments, question? Mina?
Yes. Could you explain this program, Mr. O, because I have a, I need to break it down a little, because I just, could you explain this, what this does?
I should. So what this is a new requirement from the county office for us to have a resolution in place that is to be on file. And what this does is basically, right now, we receive a number of checks, from like retirees, fundraisers, and everything like that. And we put the funds into one account right now. It's called a clearing account. So that way, if any checks bounce or it gets returned, then we get that resolved first before we issue one check to the county treasurer, because the county treasurer doesn't want us to send all the checks to them because some of the checks might bounce and they don't want to deal with that. So they want us to fix it first before sending that check to the county treasurer.
Is this a yearly?
Yeah,
effort?
this is, we have this account for ages. It's just right now, they want us to have a resolution in place on file. Yeah.
Okay,
thank-
great. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Torres.
Aye.
Trustee Anthony,
Aye.
trustee Lujan,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
Vice President Murray,
Aye.
President Shay.
Yes, thank you. Item C, approval of agreement for crossing guard services for 2023-24 school year. Staff recommends the approval of the agreement with all city management in the amount of $135,360 to provide crossing guard services for the 2023-24 school year as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Okay, so-
Second.
Wonderful, Pat and Mina. Any comments? Break, oh, we need a break, okay. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Wonderful, motion carries, so we need a break. So we will take, can we take 5 minutes break? Is that, we have to 10, okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Delaney. Okay, wonderful. Let's go back to our business. Okay, so let's move on to item D. We are still on page 7.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Item D, approval of auditor contract for the Measure T fund. Staff recommends the approval of the contract with Eddie Bailey LLP in the amount of $9,000 per year to provide Measure T auditing services for fiscal years 2022-23 through 2024-25 as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
So Dana and Pat, any comments, questions? No, wonderful. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, motion carries. Okay, let's move on to page 8. Item E, approval of agreement for baseball field warning track at ECHS. Staff recommends the approval of the proposal from Frank plus Grossman Landscape Contractors in the amount of $188,132 for a warning track at the El Camino High School baseball field as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Pat and Dana. So any comments, questions, Mina? No? Okay, so
I
all
have,
in
I have a
favor?
question.
Go
Why
ahead,
is this
please.
so expensive? Why can't we just like plow it? and Then just have dirt?
Normally, they call a warning track. So what they do is they remove a big portion of the dirt and they fill it up with some kind of gravel stuff. So the fields are a little different when they run past the lawn area. So this is usually what we do, put in.
It just seems really expensive. I mean, I understand like student health. It's just crazy because there was never a problem before this year, but I guess we gotta do it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item F, approval of contract for hazardous materials surveys. Staff recommends approval of the contract with ProTech Consulting and Engineering in the amount of $37,040 for hazardous materials surveys related to upcoming HVAC projects prior to construction at 9 district sites as presented to the board. So may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Pat?
Second.
Dana, any comments, questions? Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Motion carries. Item G, approval of contract for architectural and engineering services to install electric vehicle EV charging stations. Staff recommends the approval of a contract with Studio Perez in the amount of $33,630 for architectural and engineering services to install EV charging stations at the district office as presented to the board. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Amanda.
Second.
Dana, any comments?
Yes.
Mina.
Mr. I know you are a Tesla owner. How many charging stations does this make for our district?
I believe I think there's 6 or 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah, this one I know is for like the ADA access. And then there's a second one that is also for ADA or regular. And then there's, I think, like 4 more of the regular. So
And
it's about 6.
Where is this going to be installed?
It's right in front of like where technology services and, you know, the IMC area storage. It's right in front of the first, they're gonna use the first 8 stalls and convert it into 6 charging stations.
6, that's amazing. Do we have 6 EVs in the district?
Yeah, we got a grant that provides for the bulk of this cost. So that's why we're moving forward to test it out at the district office first.
But we don't have an EV.
We don't have anything at this time.
EVs. Okay.
Electric vehicles. Yeah.
Multiple people have them. I have one.
You have an EV?
Yeah.
Oh, so you'll be using that.
Depends on the charger. The chargers are not consistent yet, so they have different charging systems.
Okay, good. Okay, any more comments? Okay, so let's move forward. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, motion carries. So item H, approval of Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, CBOC bylaws for Measure T. Staff recommends the approval of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee bylaws for Measure T as presented to the board. May I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Pat and Dana, any question, comments? No? Excellent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Oh, good. So review of future agenda items and meetings. Any question, comments on this? Wonderful. Summary of board directives.
I didn't think there were any.
Thank you. Good and welfare. Comments from board members and superintendent. Anyone, please?
Yeah, yes, on Tuesday night, I went to the El Camino Senior Awards Night. It was fantastic. We were all in the dark about what was happening. So next year may be awesome to just tell us that. No, fine. But it was very, very fun. And it was wonderful to see everybody celebrating each other. It was great. It was really fun that the students had the surprise. Honestly, it was great. So thank you for organizing a lovely evening.
Thank you. Thank you.